This is getting out of hand. Look at the ratings list. Arjun Erigaisi storming it all aboard the gain train because he's rapidly closing in on world number 1 Cagnus
mushrooms.
And this is another gem. He's got the black pieces again, playing against a seriously strong player, Amin Tabatabai here, and watch what he does. This is just incredible. So we get e4 on the board. They're over the board opposite. Now e5, knight f3, knight c6, and the Gucci Reza piano is initiated. Knight f6 in response from Arjun. d3, bishop c5. We're rattling through these opening moves as Amin prepares to set up that big white centre, and after a6, giving the bishop some room, we see a4 expanding. h6 in response, rook e1, bishop a7, and b4. Amin expanding faster than Magnus Carlsen's hair in the centre of the board. And surely now you castle your king, but no, watch this. Modern chess, folks. Here comes Gary the debt collector storming down the board. What an attacking move. And after bishop e3, given the mistake, we get takes, rook takes, and g4. Anyone for a knight maneuver, whispers Amin as these pawns come ploughing down the board. d4 for the score, but h4 in response. I mean, look at the progress. What an aggressive system. This is 2800 level chess, folks. Absolutely love it. And after bishop e2, wow, is Amin a man or a mouse? He retreats, not the best. Apparently should have developed this one, and now you can play g3 immediately. Start ripping open some lines, and if the rook ever takes, it leaves the protection of this pawn. So queen e7 is played by Arjun. Watch this maneuver he goes on, because after d5, he completely forgets which way his pieces are supposed to move, sticks them on the Etienne back row, and now we get knight d2 and queen f8. Like I said, have a look at that lady. Watch how it snakes around like it's on a Nokia 3310. And now the best move here is the explosive c4. Just go for it straight away. But a timeout taken with knight f1 covers this rook here and the checkmating square. You know, they say knight on f8, no mate. Same thing with the white knight. And after queen h6, we start to see some of the threats. So c4 is played in response. Explosive, a massive bayonet pawn structure. g3 now played, pushing. We won't pause for every question mark. It's a complicated game. And after fg, pawn recaptures, we now see this one pushed. You can't take with the knight or this rook drops. You know, the knight's protecting it. You can't take with the knight or else black crashes through here. Wait, I just covered that one, sorry. You can't take with the rook or else knight takes here. It's covering that central pawn. So these are the problems. So h3 is played to shut the position. Now we get knight bd7 and c5, really trying to rip open the counterplay. And this is why Arjun doesn't take twice, win a pawn. We don't even need to start showing lines. It's simply a case of you giving white an initiative on the side of the board where you don't want to be playing. You're trying to attack, right? Don't lose that time. So instead, the knight maneuvers round to f8. We get takes on d6, pawn recaptures, rook a to a3, the best move apparently. Again, if rook takes immediately, pawn drops. If knight takes, rook drops. So this one does the protection of the rook, but queen c1 is played. So it covers the rook, prepares to then win the pawn here, and so Arjun's like, right, I gotta go for it here, drum up the attack. What a move we now see. He goes bishop takes on h3, may we, does it with a whoosh, crashing open that king, and now doesn't immediately take. It's playable, but not the best. The bishop saves the day here, covers the squares along with the knight, and you actually drive back the black queen eventually, and okay, game goes on, but it isn't the best attacking move. The best one, as played by Arjun, is knight to g6, because you bring it into that danger zone, preparing to take here with check potentially. Now the top response here is knight takes on g3, eyeing this sensitive square, but Understandable not played, because after queen takes here looks absolutely terminal, well, you have to find the response of knight h5, opening the rook, using this ninja stuff. These are not obvious ways to play at all. You know, then defending like this and kicking it back. Really weird dynamic defensive moves. So that's why we didn't see it played by Amin. Instead of taking this pawn, he played the move of rook takes on g3, but it's given the miss because now knight f4 comes and Arjun, despite being a piece down, is marginally better. The pawn under fire. Queen e3 now played. He takes with check and we see the exchange given back. Because if you go king g2, then this knight rotates back around, opens the queen to attack down here, and there's all sorts of problems that can come with the central pawn. This is one sample line. Black doing very well. The epic attacking power of knights and queen. Always great to see. The rook hits the open file. Black doing well. So instead of this one going to king g2, we see the knight captured. Now the queen takes, those ones leaving the board. We've got a rook and a pawn for a knight and a bishop. What a dynamic game. Bishop f3 covers the center and rook c8 hits that open file, prepares to invade. Rook b1 in response. Both players playing superb chess here. The bar's still roughly level on the left hand side, as you can see. What a game this is. Tactical mess. The knight covers there and the central pawn. And after king e7, a5, how's Arjun going to proceed? We'll watch this for some outstanding horseplay. He starts with knight d7, king f2 now played, and knight f8. Look at the journey it's going on. b5 comes on the board, knight g6 takes, pawn recaptures, and bishop g2 kicks the rook out of dodge, and it drops back to this really nice defensive square. We're going to see the point, because after check, the king runs away and rook b6 hits two pawns, but Arjun can finally hit the promised land and cover the backwards d6 pawn. Yes, this one drops here, but it takes time to win it. Meantime, Arjun comes behind the pawn and he's setting up threats against this white king. Rook a8 check played, king g7 and a6. This is getting super dangerous. The bishop could soon support it. Where's black's play? Well, rook a2 and Arjun starts to show it. He hits the knight, so it's defended by its brother, and now an excellent move. Just taking the tin opener to the center here. How do you throw more fuel on the fire? The move he plays is pawn f5. Exceptional, because you're threatening to capture, then win this knight here. This one can't take because it's pinned. If this one moves, then this one drops here, and if you take, then e4 comes, and this is still the problem. You know, you can't take, it's pinned. These are the big issues. So what can you play? Well, I need to show you this line. You can right now play bishop f1, and this is played in the game but not in the right way. And here's the key point. After captures, you're just winning a piece surely, but this is the response. Bishop c4, the rook's now hit. Say it comes to c2 like we see in the game, but then you push this a pawn here, and how the line goes is you win a piece, but then you check the king, it takes, you make a queen, and this is apparently a dynamically level position. Crazy tactical stuff that the Stockness monster sees, but that was not played. No bishop f1. Instead, we see these series of checks, but after the king comes to f6, now you have to immediately play rook d7 as the best move. Absolute ninja lines. Amin goes for the same idea with bishop f1, but massive blunder, as you can see. Look at Stock Barnacle, poop its pants, black in the driver's seat, because now when you take, the line is different. Bishop c4, rook c2, and this time you can't play a7. The rook's in the way. You can't do this whole check business because you're now only getting to a7. No queening. You can simply cover that pawn. Just doesn't work out the same. So instead, we see rook d7, clearing the way for the pawn, preparing to take on d6, and you have to be really careful. If you take here, this is a mistake, then you go check, King moves, you can swap off the rooks and the pawn pushes through, the bishop covers a2. The second rook can't get back in time. These are the problems. So instead, the excellent rook h3 played. Arjun an absolute calculating machine because he's seen this. In the game we see king e3, but what if you push the pawn with a7, preparing to make the queen? And of course you can't cover with the rook, the square is taken. Well then there's this. Takes with check. Remember this knight is pinned, you can't capture. The king goes, you take here, white makes the baby girl, but now you check again and you force the king into this mate in the corner. Really beautiful, using the knight and rooks. So this is the problem, you can't push. That's why king e3 prepares to now go knight e4 check, but now this one's dropping off the board. This check comes, the king sidesteps, another check, but now back to g6, and after bishop f1 hitting the rook, Arjun doesn't even move it. This is the icing on the cake. 2800 chess. He finishes with a brilliancy of rook e2 check. What a move, because if captures, the pawn takes and it's running through. Unstoppable. Here's an example line. And how do you stop the baby girl being made? You don't, and this is a sample checkmate. Absolutely crushing game. This guy is on fire, a point ahead of the field, and now rapidly chasing down Magnus Carlsen for the world #1 spot. I hope you enjoyed. Check out the video on screen for another epic game of chess, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.